everyone, it's Miriam Claire here with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the basic stuff. So basically, what is attachment theory and how does it affect you and me? How does it affect our relationships and our life? Well, let me tell you. So to start off with, attachment theory, attachment styles. Everyone has an attachment style. And our attachment style is formed very early on in our life and is dependent mainly upon the main caregiver or caregivers that we had and in how they related to us. If they related and communicated to us and to each other, if we had more than one, on a secure base, or if it was more of an insecure base. All those communications up until even before we started talking, we were drawing in and learning and understanding the world around us and in how we should communicate and in how we should be as a person. And so that comes down to 4 different attachment styles, and these are secure, avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. So secure is the main secure attachment style, which looks like a healthy relational field, being content with intimacy, that closeness, and also being content and being independent and having that space. So as a child, it looks like kids that feel comfortable reaching out to their parents for help and also playing by themselves and being okay when their caregiver leaves because they know that they will come back. And so as an adult, this similarly looks like this ability to feel comfortable with intimacy and also feel comfortable with being independent and alone. The term that I like to call this beautiful balance is interdependency. So on the one hand you have independence and on the other hand dependence, and so having that balance of both, being able to also depend on other people, but then if they're not available or if you're by yourself, also being able to self-soothe and look after your own needs and be okay with yourself and enjoy being by yourself from time to time as well. Moving on to avoidant attachment style. These 3 insecure attachment styles really come from parenting that created a sense of threat in the relational field. So whether a parent or both parents were too much, in a sense of constantly wanting to reassure the children and not giving them enough space to explore, being very anxious themselves as parents, being very afraid of risks of kids getting hurt, to a extreme sense. Like, it's healthy to have a normal amount of fear for your children and for those things, but to a more extreme sense of that. And another thing could even be not meeting the children's needs at all, or it could be that the physical needs were met but not the emotional needs, so not that emotional support and understanding. Perhaps there were a lot of arguments and a lot of fights and there wasn't really a proper resolve that took place, potentially emotionally abusive or any other forms of abuse growing up which presented a threat to the children or to the child. This usually does present itself within an insecure attachment style. So out of the 3, whether it is avoidant, ambivalent, or disorganized, can depend a lot on the combination of the main caregivers and what type of attachment they presented to the child. So avoidant adults tend to be quite withdrawn. They might appear very confident and very independent, but they actually can have trouble really depending on others and prefer to look after themselves and to kind of fend for themselves. They might have lots of friends or enjoy staying busy, staying social, but that intimacy might be a bit of a problem for them. It might be really hard for them to hold on to that connection in a deep sense and to really sit and be with another person's emotions in all of its entirety. So, not just happy emotions, but also sad and frustrated and angry emotions as well. And being able to regulate their own emotions and others' emotions in that same time, which is a secure trait. That self-emotional regulation, also being able to help regulate other people's emotions as well. Moving on to the ambivalent attachment style, otherwise known as anxious. These attachment style holders tend to kind of constantly be looking to get their needs met through other people and can struggle to have their needs met within themselves. They can struggle with self-emotional regulation, self-soothing, and tend to be overly sensitive of a potential threat in the relational field, whether it's someone not responding to a text message or whether it's someone portraying certain emotions that do not necessarily depict a positive situation, or just anything that feels out of the norm for a person can trigger the person that has ambivalent or anxious attachment. They're constantly wanting a lot of reassurance that the relationship is okay, and they need a lot of stability and reliability of a person to start to settle and to start to feel secure themselves. And last but not least is the disorganized attachment style. This attachment style has a combination of both the avoidant and the ambivalent traits. So disorganized could either lean towards more of the avoidant side or more of the ambivalent side, just depending on that person and their experiences growing up. So that's a bit of an overview of attachment theory. And so how does this affect us? How does this affect our relationships? Well, let me tell you, it affects them a lot, particularly within romantic attachments, because these attachment styles are underlining in the way that we behave, in the way that we respond, in the way that we see and view situations and other people, ourselves. And I believe it is a fundamental aspect to particularly romantic relationships, because that close connection is that of which is most similar to a caregiver type relationship. So naturally, because of that, it's going to trigger attachment wounds that a person may have. And so in understanding our own attachment style and even others, particularly someone that you're interested in a romantic capacity, it can help you navigate your relationship in a better way, or even be aware of potential signs that you might want to avoid, and even being aware of particular people that you might naturally be drawn to out of a familiar sense of what you're used to growing up that actually might not be healthy for you. So I hope that's been helpful today, and I hope you got something out of that. Please feel free to give me a like and a subscribe. I'll be posting more related content. If you have any specific questions, or if you would personally like to have attachment-based therapy, please get in touch with me. I'm a qualified counsellor and coach, and I'm happy to help you out. All the best.